Welcome to day 2 of Ministry Funnels. Today we're going to go over social media, our favorite topic. So you might have a love-hate relationship with social media, and we're going to talk about this. Why is social media important to you and your ministry? And depending on the level that you want to be involved there, you can go all in, and you can also just kind of dabble in it and still have a presence online where the people are. So before we do that, I want to talk to you about a website option. We talked about websites in day 1, and there's something that you'll see at the bottom of the trainings. There'll be a little link to click something that to build your own ministry website. So this is something that I found actually late in creating this program, and it's an awesome opportunity. They create websites specifically for ministries. So this is a program that is specifically designed for quality websites and also very cheap, as low as $99. They've served over 60,000 churches and businesses. It's professionally designed websites for your ministry. They kind of do it all for you, and any level that you want of support. So you can have unlimited content pages and support. So it's not just a one and done thing. They continue to support you after they create your website. And it's as low as 99 bucks. Obviously on the cheaper end, there's some higher end options for you, but if you just want a one-stop shop to create a website, tell them what you want and they can create that for you. So please use the link at the bottom of the training to create your own website through this option, this program that is specifically for ministries. So this is something that I was excited to find, and something that I think will help you just kind of pay someone else to do it if you don't want to go through all the hassle that I've been through on creating websites if you're not proficient in that. So, all right, on to social media. So why social media? Why are we talking about social media? Well, first of all, it's not going away. You might wish it was going away. We can remember simpler times when there wasn't social media and Facebook and things like that, but it's not going away. It's evolving, it's changing over time slightly, but it's also not going away. It's one of the best ways to connect with people. It's free, it's easy, you get your message out there, you get it targeted, a targeted message specifically to people that follow you. You get to use hashtags and things like that to allow other people to find it, but it is free, and oftentimes you can't beat free when it comes to getting your message out there. So social media is also great to build connections with other people. I can tell you that I have built a ton of connections just through social media, specifically Instagram, and believe it or not, TikTok. We'll talk about that a little bit, but the Christian community on TikTok is awesome. I've met some awesome connections and who I would call friends now because of that. So you can also find support for your next project. So if you're starting something new and you need connections with people, if you're starting a podcast, you can invite people to come on. You can search them through social media. They can find out about you through social media, whether you're doing a Kickstarter-like program where you need to get funding, where you want to create a page and get support and eyes on what you're doing. And you can also package your message to niche groups. So I would consider Christianity a niche group. So the fact that we are creating ministries to reach the lost, to spread the gospel, these kind of messages are for everybody, but also a lot of times it starts off small into niche and then it can grow from there. For example, if you are specifically giving a message to Christians and then you have a bunch of other people commenting on it, like I get on TikTok a lot, it's a way to grow that message through organic means of conversation. And by conversation, sometimes I mean trolls and sometimes I mean negative comments, but that is also part of social media. So honestly, social media we need to have light among the darkness. So we need you on social media. Now, if you remember in day 1, I almost wanted to quit social media. And there's plenty of people that do quit social media that may not have a specific ministry, but they are called to step away from social media for a time or permanently, and that is fine. Once again, this is not a program where I'm telling you exactly what to do. Go before God and see what He wants you to do. But I am telling you that social media is a way where we can spread light in darkness. Okay, social media is what I would say just darkness. There's everything on there you can imagine, and a lot of times when you're scrolling through social media, you feel depressed, you feel worse than when you started, and there's a reason for that. The things that pop up, it's amazing that the news articles I see on social media are always negative, a murder, a kidnapping, a political thing, and it's like, I just don't want to see that. I want there needs to be light on social media, and so if we can share with others what we're doing in our ministries, get them closer to God while they're already on social media. This is not like you're drawing people to social media. People are already there. You already have an audience on social media. Now it's just connecting with them, finding them, letting them find you. All right, so there's a lot of different types of social media sites. You're going to know some of these, and some of these you will not know. And so if you're taking notes, write these down, look into them. If you're just starting your ministry, create accounts on as many as possible. I've done this. I have accounts for Discerning Dad on all of these, plus other ones that I'm not going to mention that I just didn't continue with. And so there's once again, no right or wrong way. If you just want to stick with the big ones, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, then go for it. But there's going to be some benefits to other ones as well, which we will talk about. So Facebook is obvious what that is by now, but you have options on there too for yourself. So personally, I have a page for Tim Ferrara, or I have a personal, I guess it's not called a page because pages are different, but I have a personal thing for me. And then I have a page for Discerning Dad, and then I even have a group for my my podcast called Everyday Discernment Podcast Community. So the difference between pages and groups are pretty significant. If you have a ministry, a brand, you're going to want to create a page. A page is kind of a general destination for businesses, for organizations, things like that you will want people to go to. And then groups are specifically usually smaller, usually specific around a theme within what would be considered a page. So it's usually an offset of a page, but not always. Groups are much more interactive. And now let me just fill you in on the algorithm for Facebook too. So if you have a page, it's very hard for people to see your content on your page. Facebook designs it where you have to, they want you to pay for advertising in order to see them. So if you have, let's say you have 5,000 people on your page and you post something, you might only get 10% of those people actually seeing it, and that's on a good day. So why don't all 5,000 people see it? Well, that's one of the problems of a page. Unless people are specifically designed to set their notifications to see all posts, they will not see it unless they're scrolling through their feed, unless they have a history of liking your stuff. There's a really good chance they won't see your content in a page. So it's a good thing if you have a page to remind everyone to set their notifications to see all content. And then a group is something where they will see more of the content. It is more interactive, more people can engage with it. You can set a lot of settings in a group so people can't engage. It's just you posting, but the best way for a group is for people to be able to post. A lot of times you need a moderator to, especially if the group gets bigger, in order to, make sure content is along the lines with the rules of the site and what you want to be presented. So it can be a little tricky, but I would say definitely create a page. It's a good destination spot for people to send people to your content, regardless if you have a website or not. You can get by with just a Facebook page as kind of info about you, about your ministry, and a good place to kind of post. So Those are the differences there. Instagram is, we'll talk more about some of these, but Instagram is basically picture based. So you can't just post unless you have a picture or fancy words. You can post words on a background like in a story, but most of the time Instagram is picture based. The videos, lives on there as well. It's also owned by Facebook. So if you run ads on Instagram, a lot of times they will run on Instagram and Facebook if you want them to, because they are owned by the same company. So there's good things too for Instagram, where if you post on Instagram, it automatically shares to Facebook and vice versa. Well, I don't know if you share on Facebook, it doesn't go to Instagram. But if you share on Instagram, it does go to Facebook. I know that for sure. So there's some good cross posting that you can do by just posting on Instagram alone. YouTube is the big dog for videos. I guarantee you probably know what YouTube is, but the goal of YouTube is to create quality videos. Usually, if you're going to post on other sites like Instagram, Facebook, you're going to want to post videos that are 1 minute to 3 minutes long usually. YouTube is where you can post hours of video content and where people can see it on there. So YouTube is very much in-house, right? There's not a lot of cross posting that you can do, or sharing YouTube links on Facebook. Facebook does not like that. Facebook doesn't like links in general. So if you post a link to anything, you'll probably see that, oh, I usually get 20-30 comments, likes, and now I only have 2. Well, it's probably because you shared a link. Facebook does not like links, especially to content like YouTube, because it wants you to be on their site and not going somewhere else when you're on Facebook, which is kind of smart, because you know, if you click a link, you're going to go somewhere else and get distracted and not stay on Facebook, and Facebook wants you to stay on Facebook. So TikTok is another platform that has really grown in popularity in the past well, I would say in 2020 it really started to explode. 2019 is kind of when it started, and so it is something that I downloaded and wanted to delete. And now that I've grown on there and found the Christian community on there, I love it. It's a great tool. It's also a really good video editing software built into the TikTok app. And so a lot of times I'll create videos on there and share them in other platforms because of how good the video content or the video creation tool is. So don't disqualify TikTok. I'm definitely above the age range on there myself, but there's also plenty of other people on there, grandmas, grandpas on there too, doing their thing. So, you know, I would say at least check it out if it's something that you want to do. It is video based, so you can't just post pictures on there, but it's something as well. You could do a quick 15-30 second blurb about what's going on in your ministry. You do want to make sure that they're very engaging videos, so you want to make sure it's not just like, hey, check out my YouTube page and blah, blah, blah. You kind of want to be in line with the trends and the hashtags going on. So a bunch of nonsense there, but that's kind of the gist of TikTok. Twitter. Twitter is Twitter. Twitter's kind of toxic, to be honest with you. I don't scroll a lot through on Twitter. I do post on Twitter. So here's what I have found. Twitter is great for small quotes. Small little sound bites. I use it kind of as my notepad, if you will. So if I have a cool idea, if I have a thought about God, I'll post that thought on Twitter, and then I'll go back and look at them and say, oh, this would make a good blog, or this would make a good video that I can create and do a longer video on Instagram or TikTok. So Twitter, I have found, for me personally, and Twitter has a lot of different things too, but Twitter I have found is a good notepad for me. I don't like scrolling on Twitter. Like I said, it can be very toxic and political, and nobody needs that in their life. So there's a lot of others. So there's Faith Social. Some of these we'll talk about, some of these we won't. So Faith Social is the one I will talk about. So Faith Social is basically Facebook for Christians. So if you think about it that way, Faith Social is newer. It's kind of in the earlier stages of it launching. And so I would check it out. It's a good way to create Christian content for Christians. You know, it's very targeted. You don't get a lot of comments and interaction on there because people don't check it as often as they do Facebook. But you can also grow on Faith Social. I've done partnerships with them where I would record a prayer and they shared it, during a week when they were getting prayers from different people. I'm also they call it I'm basically a check mark. I have a blue check mark on there, which means I'm one of the influencers, if you will, which I don't like the term, but so check that out on Faith Social. It's a cool site. I really like it. I really pray that it does grow because I could see a really benefit for people that want to jump onto something like Facebook and just see Christian content, positive content as well. So we'll talk about Clubhouse. Parler is kind of Twitter for conservatives. Unify is an app that started off, it was called Ejimoo, E-J-I-M-O-O, and then it changed names to Unify. I actually really like it. It's not also one where I don't have more than I think I have 200 followers on there, but so they post things in monochrome colors, and then you can click on the pictures and see it in full color if you want, but it's very more of a minimalist approach. So everything's not in color, and you cannot comment on people's things, which is actually really nice, posting Christian content, meaning that I can post whatever I want and no one can comment on it. I don't have any trolls on there. So I like it for what it is. It's smaller, more niche. Pinterest is very popular with some people. I have a Pinterest account, but it hasn't really grown much. It's not the best for kind of what I do, but there is there's an opportunity out there for Pinterest for sure. Pinterest changed a lot of their algorithms too. Like I used to post short videos on there and they would get a couple thousand views, and then recently it's like 2 views. So I don't know what is going on specifically with Pinterest, but it's something to consider because it is a very popular site. Byte is basically TikTok, as well as Clapper and Triller. Those are TikTok clones that I'm not really on very much. All Social is something that I created an account. I don't really post on there. And then there's Telegram, which is it's like Facebook Messenger, and you can have a page on there and followers that can just see your content only. So Telegram is up and coming, a little bit newer. A lot of people are using it that got booted off of Twitter and stuff that are focused on Telegram. So a lot of options. Don't get overwhelmed by all these options. Write down a few that you want to start with and kind of grow from there as you feel you should, or just, like I said, focus on the top 3 or 4 and you can't go wrong there. So creating content for social media. So this is very important to figure out what you want to put on social media and how often. So there are options for creating pictures, which you will want to look at. So what I do is I usually post like a cool picture with a quote, a Bible verse on it, in addition to other content. And I try to post daily, honestly, especially on Instagram. But to do that, I have to create pictures. I started by basically going on Pinterest and sniping other people's pictures for a while, and it's fine to kind of reshare things. Because here's the thing, if you want to protect a picture you create, you have to put your logo on it so that if other people share it, they see your logo. That's kind of the very important thing, is that if you're going to share content, you want to make sure that your info's on there somewhere, because if they just download your picture and share it, it's not connected to you anyway. So Canva Spark allow you to do that, allow you to submit logos. I started with Canva Pro, and I think it's fine. It's fine, but I personally like Adobe Spark better. These aren't the only 2 softwares by any means for creating content. I'm just saying that for my needs and for my limited ability to create content, Adobe Spark is one of the better content creating websites, and it's also an app, so I can find pictures on there, put them on the template, find a quote from the internet or something that's on my mind, post it on that picture, slap my logo on it, and call it done. So you want to consider that. There's also something called a Captions app. There's more than one, but there's just an app called Captions. And if you're creating video content, you want to have captions on there because a lot of people watch videos on silent. Maybe they're in a quiet environment, maybe they're in bed, their spouse is sleeping, and they're watching videos. And if you have captions on, there's a much better chance that you're going to keep them engaged and they're going to keep watching, as opposed to relying on sound only and they can't hear what you have to say and they quickly flip to the next one. Creating content that's more video based and not picture based, there's some options such as Filmora Go, Adobe Rush, and CapCut. These are app based. I think they have bigger versions as well, but I've kind of dabbled in them. I use Filmora Go a lot, and CapCut. CapCut is newer at the time of this recording, and it's really good for like TikTok, creating videos on TikTok. Very user friendly. Adobe Rush is kind of the big one. I think you need a subscription for that to use it in its full potential. So another little trick of the trade is when creating content to use time hop. So time hop is connected to some of your major social media accounts like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and it tells you basically what you posted a year ago on the day you're looking in the app. And so if you are planning on being ministry for over a year, start to download that, connect it with your content, and then after a year goes by, you start to see things that you posted a year ago. And here's the trick, is that you can post those same things and 99.9% of the people will not remember that you ever posted that to begin with, because you've grown new followers since then, hopefully in a year, and it'll also remind them that it's a good reminder. If it's a good quote, why not share it once a year is not too much. So use time hop to recycle content, and if you want to download it, spruce it up. If you're using something like Adobe Spark, Canva, it's saved in there, so if you want to add something to it and stuff like that, you can as well. But don't just reshare your content, okay? Don't just go back to the original post and share it, okay? Once again, Facebook, things like that do not like shared content either. I talked about how they don't like links, but they don't like shared content either. I mean, sometimes they do, but for the most part, it's better to create original content, meaning don't share things and expect to get the same traction on them as you would if you just created something new. All right, use your logo or website in case content gets shared. I mentioned that already, but you basically have an option of doing your specific logo or your website. I started doing my website and then I went to my logo because it's cleaner and will allow people to kind of know what it is without actually putting the whole ... in. And then be consistent in your posting. So I try to post every day. I miss some days, but also I try to be as consistent as possible. Consistency is key in a lot of things, whether you're podcasting, blogging, posting on social media. Try to find a rhythm, a time that works for you where people can expect your content at a regular interval. And so that way people will kind of not wonder, hey, where is this person? I don't see them post anymore. And, totally okay to take time off, but at the same time, try to be as consistent as possible. So a little more in depth in Facebook. So Facebook, we talked about some of this, but Facebook is a must-have, honestly. It's not going away anytime soon. A lot of people have thought it was. It used to be the coolest thing where all the kids were on it, and now it's more of for businesses, aka ministries. It's more for quote the young kids would say for the old people now, but it's still something that there's nothing like it as far as the customization. You can have a personal profile, which a lot of the strategy that you hear from people that are helping you grow your business is to create a personal profile that is customizable. So if people go to your profile, they know exactly what you're trying to sell, where you're coming from, what business you're in, and where to find it. And so the people I will connect you with on day 5 will really help you with this, and it's really good strategy. So Facebook profiles in general can be very kind of random on what to expect, but there are very cool ways on making it very specific to what you're trying to do. So if you're in ministry, for example, and you have a website and you have an offer, you have a book, you have something to connect people with, people can find it by just going on your page. And there's a lot of interesting ways where people get you to connect with people through groups, through providing content, where people can find you organically through your Facebook page by what you commented. So let's say I'm in a group that's similar to discernment. So I'm going to post information on discernment because that's what my ministry is about. And then people will say, oh, that's a good word. Who is this guy? And they click on my page and then they go to it and they say, oh, he has a ministry about discernment too. I'm going to follow his page. That's just an example of how connections on Facebook can go if you're engaged in interacting in other content, not just jumping into a group and saying, hey, follow my page, but providing value is what will, number one, not get you kicked out of a group by soliciting your stuff, but also being connecting with other people that will find your stuff. So we talked about Facebook pages and Facebook groups. I would say have one of each. But for sure, the page is the way to go to start, and then kind of consider a group from after you start to grow. Ads as well are an option on Facebook. I said before they're tied to Instagram, so you can run an ad and it goes on both. There's some pros and cons of ads. Ads are very well targeted on Facebook. They're easy to set up. You can target a specific area. If it's like a local business, you can target specific hashtags, interests. You can also target just your Facebook group or your Facebook page. So remember how I said that if you post something, it only sees about 10% of your page? Well, if you have a large page and people are not seeing your content and you have something like maybe a brand new book that you want people to know about, you can create an ad that is specifically targeted to your Facebook page, which you will have to pay money for, but it is also something that's an option for you. I do this once in a while if I have a new podcast that I think people will be interested in. I don't see the value in it as far as returns based on the money I spend, but it's not a bad idea to just, if you have a budget, $25 a week, $10 a week, just to get stuff out there and gain some traction, right? You're not going to blow up if you're not spending thousands of dollars on it, but at the same time, $5, $10, $20 here and there do go a long way in creating ads. So the negative of ads is that they are very expensive. There's not a great click rate on them. I mean, you know how ads work. If you see an ad, you want to get the heck out of there as quick as you can. So people are not, super open to ads because they're bombarded with them all the time, but it is still an option for you to help you grow. The reach of Facebook is large. Ads help you grow that reach. Reach basically means the amount of people that see your content. We talked about how your reach is limited in a lot of cases based on if you share things, if you post links, or if you post in your page, your reach will be limited. Honestly, the best way to get reach is on your personal page and to post a short, 20, 15 words or less thing and allow people to interact with it. So an open-ended question, let's say you're starting a podcast and you ask, hey, what are some podcasting tips that you have for me? Or what do you want to hear? Who do you want me to have on my podcast? Or what did you have for breakfast, right? These are ways to get more engagement in something that may not be specifically related to your ministry, but will help grow rapport with your friends who get name recognition. And it's also very important to have as many friends as possible. So Facebook maxes out at 5,000 friends, which sounds like a lot, but be strategic on who you accept, who you search for, and get them into your friend group. Granted, friends on Facebook we know are not your actual friends, they're just more acquaintances, but the more friends you have on your Facebook group, on your Facebook page, the more that you will have the ability to have more and more people interact with your content. So that's something too. It's more of a deeper topic we can go over later, but I would also say to have very specific ways that you're targeting people as they come into your group, and don't just settle for you know, well, I only have 500 friends, there's not much I can do. No, it's sometimes a grind to get more, and your personal page is where kind of the money is on Facebook. And not money in literal term, but also it's where you can grow the most when they start to see who you are. And that might mean you post less about your personal stuff. You know, you post less about your personal interests, and you focus specifically on your ministry. If you're going to go at this full on, you know, you want to create something that people can get excited about. And if you don't like posting, or if you don't want to post, it's really something you have to pray about and say, what are other people doing? How far do I want to take this ministry, and what are some ways that I can start small today? Instagram, we talked about that. There are some benefits to Instagram. I actually did not like Instagram when I first started. I thought it was very hard to use, but the more I used it, or the more I started to use it, the easier it is to get used to it. So it is picture focused, like we talked about, creating pictures. It is connected with Facebook. You can post shorter videos under a minute, and they do get posted in your main feed. If they are longer than a minute, then they get posted to something called Instagram TV, which is their kind of spoof on YouTube to kind of create something where people can go to for video content. I don't think it's taking off like they thought it would when they started IGTV, but you do have the option for longer videos as well as your shorter videos. Reels are awesome. They are newer. Reels are kind of their take on TikTok. So you can post Reels, and they started at 15 seconds. I think it's up to 30 now. You can post shorter videos, and they go into what is called Reels. Reels is a great way for people other than your followers to see your content. So if you have shorter videos, don't post them as a quote post them as Reels, and you will get more views than you got than in just a regular post. I've had short videos on Instagram get over 100,000 views, and which is crazy just through Reels. Most of the time it's not that much, but they have the potential to grow, especially if it's a quote viral video. It is very hard to grow organically on Instagram. This is one of the downfalls. Unlike TikTok, where it's really easy to grow organically, Instagram is very hard to grow. It's easy to grow on Facebook too, comparatively. So what you have to kind of do is send people to your Instagram, and also use hashtags. Hashtags are kind of the not guaranteed way to grow, but the way that you want to make sure that people are seeing your content is through hashtags. Now, hashtags, I will say there are different ways to do this. There's also apps to get you the best hashtags that are being used at the moment. What I do is I save, and you can have up to 30 hashtags on Instagram, and there's different requirements for different sites on how many hashtags you can have, but I have 30 hashtags saved in my Notes app on my phone, and when I post something, I just go copy those and post them, as opposed to retyping them every single time, which would get very tiresome. But also mix it up a little bit. So if you have a specific, so if I have a Francis Chan quote, I'll do hashtag Francis Chan to get more engaged with people that like his stuff, as opposed to the same old quotes every single time. So you do want to mix it up, maybe add 3 or 4 specific quotes to your post, and then also keep a track of what's working well. You can click on a hashtag or search for a hashtag and see who the top posts for that hashtag are. If you are in a major post like hashtag Christian, there's going to be thousands, millions of posts in that hashtag, and it's very hard to trend on a hashtag like that, especially if you're starting out. But if you start with some smaller hashtags, like let's say Easter and then the year, Easter 2021, for example, that's something specific to that day. If you have an awesome post, you have a good chance of trending on that hashtag, or something specific to your ministry. For me, it's discernment. If I type hashtag discernment, that's a little bit more niche. I have a better chance of trending on that hashtag than on a bigger hashtag like Christian, God, Jesus, that kind of stuff. So, and then post consistently. We talked about using Time Hop to make sure that you get that you get the best repeat things that worked well. So don't just recycle everything, but reuse the ones that you think will be good. So YouTube is a money maker. So it is insane how many people can make money on YouTube, and not just some money, but literally millions and millions and millions of dollars. But that's not going to be for everybody, especially if you're in ministry, probably. So you want to use YouTube for what it is, and then just see where it goes with that. So it has some good customization options. It has a good, if you get to a certain amount of followers and views, you have the option to make money on ads if you would like. You can customize the channel page, your little picture at the bottom. You can customize your end screens. There's a ton of stuff in YouTube that you really probably want to go through a training, which we'll let you know more info on. But I was on YouTube for a while before I actually customized my page fully, which is not super clear if you're just kind of starting a page. So don't just assume that I created a YouTube page, I can now just post whatever and however I want. There's a lot of detail on YouTube if you really want to do it right. You can do paid ads on YouTube. Now, granted, YouTube is very much in-house, meaning that you can't just send people to your YouTube page. Other social media sites will not like that. So you can pay for advertising within YouTube, but it is very hard to set up. My goodness, I do not know why they make this so hard. So you have to set it up through Google Ads, and then 2 hours later, it seems like you can start to post ads. But I would not recommend this, first of all, because it's very hard to do. You don't get a lot of benefit out of it either. But once again, if you can figure it out, if it's something that you can put a little bit of money towards, and you have some good content too that send people to, don't just assume you can post you doing whatever and think that it will grow. It has to be good content, okay? And then there's a good chance that paid advertising can help you out. So longer videos, and now they started something too to compete with TikTok. I'm telling you, all these places are trying to do things to compete with TikTok because of how much it's growing. They're doing something called Shorts, which is smaller clips that people can watch on the fly. Hard to promote. Better equipment goes a long way with YouTube, believe me. So don't, you can just stumble in, but also invest time. If you really want to do YouTube right, do the research and figure out what you need to make your YouTube videos look really well. And here's another trick too, is thumbnails go a long way. YouTube thumbnails. So if you just post a video, it picks a random part of the clip to kind of post as your thumbnail, the thing that people see when they search or look for your YouTube videos. But if you create a custom thumbnail, meaning you've probably seen them on YouTube where it's a person's face being like, and then something next to it, like the title of the page or something cool in the background, you're like, oh, that looks awesome, I want to click that. That's what thumbnails do, especially if you're going to promote them. So I will recommend something to you called YouTube Buddy. You'll find the link for it below. This is a partner software that will help you post videos onto YouTube and also give you a lot of cool tips on how to post, what to post, and it's really a great investment and it doesn't cost a lot. And there's also a free version too, which you can try. Check it out. If you like it, then go to the paid. But it's something cool that if you are going to spend time on YouTube, check out YouTube Buddy. It will help you grow if you're utilizing all of its functions. There's also something called YouTube Channel Mastery. This is something too that I'll put in the notes below to check out. How to create perfectly optimized channels that YouTube and Google love and make you money. So regardless of the money part, just to help you grow your ministry. Like I said, it's very important to know what you're doing on YouTube, and you can't just do that, or it's very hard to do that by just kind of browsing around and figuring it out on your own. Have someone walk with you alongside of your journey through YouTube and help optimize your channel fully and grow your followers. All right, so TikTok, surprisingly strong Christian influencers on there, Christian presence on TikTok. Like I said, Christian influencers on there that post every day who I've personally connected with, and it is a great place to kind of spread the message of the gospel in sometimes toxic environment. So use hashtags, be careful with your For You page. TikTok censorship, so they are known for censoring content such as Christianity. If you specifically take a stance on hot button topics, which we know what they all are, you have a good chance of being banned or just blacklisted, where you won't get the views that you normally would. So that's not to say you can't post good content. You just have to kind of be careful with TikTok that they don't censor you for certain things. So there is a TikTok creator fund that you can apply to as a creator, where you get actual money for views. So if you have 100,000 views on a video, which is not uncommon, you will get a percentage of money for that. So it's not that you will make a lot of money, but if you are growing, especially as a new creator, you can sign up for that and see you might make enough for a Starbucks coffee. Like I said before, it has an amazing creator tool. It's something that you can use and use across the board, for other platforms too, as you share your content. The creator tool allows you to use songs. It allows you to do a lot of cool things on there that you can't just do in other video editing software, or at least it's hard. I have found it to be a very easy tool for me, who doesn't know a lot about video creation. So consider that too if you're just starting out and don't know how to create stuff. TikTok is very easy to figure out. Twitter, so this is great for short quotes. We talked about some of this already. So it's very easy to post on Twitter. It's not hard. I used it for ideas I've had throughout the day to kind of post on there, and use it as reminders for myself too on how I can expand on that content later. And then hashtag or not, Twitter has a trending hashtag spot that you can look at trending hashtags. If there's something that is a hot button hashtag that you want to make a comment on, you have a chance of getting seen that way. So for example, if they did something like hashtag cancel Jesus, you could post that and then say, hey, why would we cancel Jesus? He's Lord of my life, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, hashtags, when I first started, I posted pictures on Twitter like it was Instagram, and I posted a ton of hashtags and got hardly any views on there. So don't do that. Use it for quotes. You can post pictures on something they call fleets now, which is kind of like Instagram stories. We didn't talk about Instagram stories, but stories are basically short things that appear on your profile that disappear after a day or two. You can use this for just quick things that you don't want to make a full post out of, or you can also do, one thing with Instagram too, if you do a story, you can have a link, after you have so many followers, you can have swipe up links. So if you have a new blog post, if you have a new podcast, if you have a link to Amazon, you can do swipe up links. So basically when they look at your story, they can swipe up on that post and then see your content in that link, which is really cool. So fleets are an answer to Instagram stories. Not sure how they're doing, but there's something that's there for an option. I want to connect you with Social Kickstart as well. This is a great social media management tool. There's a few of them out there. This is a great way to connect Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn together and do it all in one click. So you can schedule your stuff in advance. You can set it up quickly and then just post from a single location to all these platforms and then see how they do from there and stuff too. So check it out. It's a great way to not have to log into everything every single time. So that's a link I have for you today as well. So action steps for today is to figure out your social media strategy. I gave you a lot of content. You're going to be on a wide range of not on social media at all for your ministry. You might be on there, have been on there for a while, but maybe there's a way you want to edit, adjust your strategy to make it a little bit more aligned with something that you think will work for you. If you're just starting out, like I said, don't be overwhelmed. Start small, start with the big boys, and then go from there. So write this down too. So write down your social media strategy. I want you to share it in the Facebook group. I want to hear what you have planned. And And then consider some of the training options I gave you to learn more about these things. This is not going to be, okay, you listen to me and now you know exactly what to do on there. No, it takes some trial and error, and then people that have gone on before you can help you with that. I'm also available to you if you have questions on social media as well in the Facebook group. Optimize your top 4 social media platforms. So pick out 4 that you want to use. It might be Facebook, Faith Social, Twitter, and Instagram, for example. And then optimize them. Don't just create an account and think you're good to go. Optimize them. There's a lot of editing on your profile that you can do to make it look really good. Instagram especially. There's little links that you can have under your profile that can take you to things that were previous stories. So there's a lot of cool things. I'm not going to go over all that now, but just know that optimizing your platform on social media is essential. Okay, share your questions and feedback in the Facebook group. Let me know what your social media strategy is, any questions you have as well. And connect with each other. You know, let everyone know where they can find you on social media, and let's help each other out and follow each other.